Okay, so we just talked about the phases of the menstrual cycle, as well as the hormones associated for that, and the reason for explaining what the hormones do for the body to prepare for reproduction. And after the menstrual cycle, if an egg isn't fertilized, then we have another episode of menses of the shedding of the lining. But next, we're going to talk about what happens if it does. So, we're going to talk about fertilization, implantation, and then the three separate trimesters, what the time frame looks like for each of those, and some important things to know about each trimester, and some things that she emphasized in class that sounds like she might ask a test question on. So, the first thing that we have is after everything in the menstrual cycle, we have hopefully fertilization. Fertilization is when the sperm meets the egg. It takes place in fallopian tubes. And just if we don't already know this, the sperm has 23 chromosomes, the egg has 23 chromosomes, which gives us a total of 46 chromosomes. And 26 from the male, which is going to be your XX. Oh my god, I went XY. I had a feeling that was wrong. XY, and then the female egg has XX, which determines the sex of the baby. And then the ovum is considered fertile for 12 to 24 hours. 24 to 12 to 24 hours. I should have said that first. But so after the ovum is fertile for 12 to 24 hours. If fertilization happens, the sperm meets the egg, we get 46 chromosomes, and that takes place in the fallopian tube. And then after that, we have implantation. Now, implantation occurs 7 days after fertilization. 7 days post fertilization. And it is transferred to and implanted into the, I believe it's like the upper posterior, I forget, but implanted in uterus, as we know. All right, next we're going to talk about the trimesters. So the first trimester is going to be from the first, from 1 to 12 weeks. And the first trimester is the most critical. And why is it the most critical? The most critical because there's rapid development of cells. These are two things that she'd use pretty specifically. The most critical, rapid, what did I just say? Rapid growth, we'll say. There's rapid growth in these first 12 weeks, and it's the most critical point in time because this is where the cells are susceptible to teratogenesis or any sort of like harmful chemicals that we ingest or anything that happens. It's where it's most likely to cause any sort of birth defect or any cause to harm to the fetus. And in that time, in the first semester, like I said, there's rapid growth, so there is the formation of all organs and structures. They're formed, they're not fully developed, and they're starting to develop. And just the fun fact that she had shared is that you could the heartbeat at 4 weeks, but she specified you don't hear it until 10. And one of the most important things, I'm going to write it in this pretty green. 8 weeks. Oops. The embryo is called a fetus at 8 weeks, which is a part of the first trimester. The embryo is then called a fetus because all the organs have been developed or formed, and that is the point in which the embryo is then called a fetus. And we have the second trimester, which is going to be weeks 13 to 27. And this is when their organs are continuing to develop. And one of the most important things that happens is going to be fetal respiratory begins. Obviously, organs develop more. Respiratory begins. This means that they're starting to use the muscles that they will be using to breathe after they've been birthed, but they're obviously their lungs are filled with fluid at this time, so they're not actually breathing. The mother is providing the oxygenated blood for the baby, for the fetus rather. And what was the last thing here? Vernix develops to protect the fetus, protects the skin, and then quickening, which is the first movements which can be felt by the mother. I didn't think she really needed us to know, but multips, which is if you've had more than one pregnancy, it'll be felt the first kicking or movement will be felt between 16 to 18 weeks. And the primip, I believe is pronounced, was about 20 weeks. If you've had more babies, it's likely that you'll feel it a little bit quicker than your first child. Then we have the third trimester, which is going to be 28 weeks to birth. 28 to birth, which is going to be anywhere from about maybe 38 to 40 weeks. Hopefully, if the baby comes to at full term. And during the third trimester, eyes are able to open and close. Surfactant develops. And 38 plus weeks is considered to be full term. Let me just go back to the PowerPoint here because there was another thing. Yeah, I feel like most of the stuff happens in the second trimester, but something that was also there. So along with the vernix developing, we can also associate that with the nugo. Those long, fine, downy hairs developing, typically on the back, shoulders of the fetus. So those are the trimesters along with the weeks and some pretty important milestones for the fetus. This was definitely something that we really want to emphasize to remember is that the embryo is called a fetus at 8 weeks due to all organs and structures being developed. And that was pretty much something that was really important. And another thing that was also super important was that fertilization, that the ovum, after ovulation, the ovum is going to be fertile for 12 to 24 hours. So we have a very small window of time where an egg can be fertilized. Like she had said in class, what a miracle we are.